Ms. Sajid. So let's directly start, go into the session. With that, let me invite the role players, as we have 3 speakers and we have a time crunch. So let's directly start our meeting. Let me invite role players to explain the roles. Today's general evaluator is Deepu. So you can come here and explain the role.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Priya. So my role is to be a general evaluator. As a general evaluator, you typically look at how the meeting has been organized, how the conduct of the meeting, whether it started on time, how the speeches were evaluated, how the reports, roles are being done. So it's then also chairing the general evaluation section, which contains the evaluation of the 3 speeches, plus also the reports of the different role players. Thank you.
Next, let me invite Biju. He is the grammarian for the day today.
Hello everyone. As a grammarian, my responsibility is to introduce the word of the day, which is transcendent. The transcendent means surpassing others and in an excellence or a supreme. So you could all transcend in your speeches and in your personal life by getting into Toastmasters. The other thing is I'll try to make sure that you are using the proper grammar. If not, I will try to find it and report it back at the end of the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, let me invite Joe Small. He is the accountant for the day today.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today I will be playing the role of accountant. In this role, I will be looking for incorrect usage of words like and filler words like that, and also any incorrect usage of words like you know, so things like that. So I will be keeping a count of those words, and I will give a report at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, let me invite Ria George. She is the timer. Good afternoon, everybody. Today my role is the timer. As a timer, it is to give feedback on the amount of time it took to complete each project speech, table topic speech, and evaluation. Each presentation should fall within a time range. Icebreaker speeches are 4 to 6 minutes. Other project speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. Table topic speeches are 1 to 2 minutes. Speech evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. I'll be displaying colored cards on my phone to help you manage your time. After you acknowledge the flag, I'll proceed displaying the next one. The green card means you have reached the minimum time requirement. Yellow card means you have reached halfway point. And a red card means you have reached the end of the time. You should wrap up and stop. Thank you. Thank you. Next, let me invite topic master, Prabhu.
Thank you, Priya. Today my role is a topic master. I'll be providing topics for impromptu speech. The impromptu speech is about 1 to 2 minutes.
So our first speaker is James, and to introduce James, let me invite George Verghese.
Is there a timing for this?
No, not yet.
No. Is there a timing for the introduction also?
Introduction?
No, right now.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone again. James has been associated with our Toastmasters forum since the beginning. He is a very dedicated person, and he makes sure that he handled the projects very seriously and sincerely. And of course, he has been willing to take the responsibility. For example, our family night program, he only put forward with the idea to have the program. And similarly for the open house also, he very actively participated. And today he is going to be complete his goal of completing the competent communicator. Today he has already completed 7 projects. Today he is doing this 8th project. The project is get comfortable with visual aid. The objectives of this speech are the aim is to select appropriate visual aids and use them to enhance your speech. That basically a picture is more worth than hundreds of words. So we look forward the method or the various steps he take in order to show his visuals to make the speech effective and efficient and convey ideas. A few other things, clarity of it. When I evaluate this speech or this project, I will be looking into clarity of visual, relevance of visual use, and transitions. Okay. I welcome James and we look forward to learn more about that. And one more thing, the topic of this project, the speech is hold the phone close to your mouth. Look forward to hear and learn from your project. Welcome. James.
Toastmasters here, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Hold the phone close to your mouth. If you were on the other end of a phone call and someone were to say this to you, how would you feel? If you're on a conference call with several other people and someone were to say this to you, how would you feel? I recently overheard a colleague of mine say this to another colleague and has left wondering at the dynamics of the workplace relationship between the two. My friends, today I want to introduce to you a leadership model that is very simple and has been around for a long time. It is called the skill versus will matrix. But before I introduce that to you, I want to share with you 2 extreme styles of leadership that I'm sure all of you are familiar with. The first is that of a micromanager. It is a person that gives you absolutely no freedom, is constantly breathing over your shoulders, and leaves you feeling like an idiot. The next is that of an over-delegator, who takes on no responsibility, but delegates everything, and absolutely adds no value. And between these 2 extremes, we are supposed to find the right model of leadership. All of us are called to lead and to take direction from others. In any given day, we work on many different tasks and assign tasks to others, be they friends, colleagues, or family. The skill versus will matrix suggests that you evaluate the person that you're assigning the task to on 2 dimensions. The first is their ability or skill to do the task. And the second is their desire or willingness to do the task. And based on this evaluation, you place the person on that task into 4 quadrants. And based on where you place them in that quadrant, you tweak your leadership style to fit that quadrant. For those in the low will, low skill category, you take on a more direct and hands-on approach. You set clear expectations. You identify what is the reason for low skill. Provide them training if required. Provide frequent feedback and praise and motivate them. For those with low will, and high skill. Preferably, likely these are people that have worked on this task or similar tasks in the past. Your role here is that of a motivator. And your role is to excite them. Discuss with them what will motivate them. Create intrinsic and extrinsic sources of motivation. Finally, also encourage them and get them to be their best. For those in the third category, which is the high will and low skill, your role is that of a guide. Identify any training needs that they have and encourage them to seek that training. Also provide them frequent feedback and praise. And in the fourth quadrant, high will, high skill, which is the sweet spot, you delegate or empower them. Give them freedom to complete their tasks. Let them take different risks. Involve them in the decision making. And solicit their opinion. Now, you might wonder why I introduced to you such a leadership style that perhaps is very simple. I'm sure no one here is sitting thinking, oh, James just introduced me to this great new style of leadership that I was not aware of. All of us follow this leadership model, especially with our kids. Because earlier on, we are more direct with them, and then as they grow in responsibility, we let them take the reins by themselves. The reason I introduced this model is so that this is the model most leaders default to. If you are more self-aware and thoughtful, you will realize how you're leading and how you're being led. If your boss is treating you like you belong in one of these quadrants and you disagree, then you can tweak your behavior to put yourself in the right quadrant. Actually, sorry, if you believe if your boss is putting you in the wrong quadrant, you should have the conversation with your boss. If instead you feel it's your behavior or your lack of skill, then you can tweak your behavior or gain the skill to put yourself in the right quadrant. No one wants to be told to hold the phone next to the mouth, because that means you're being treated as though you belong in quadrant 1 or quadrant 3. It is your role to ensure that nobody feels they're justified in telling you, hold the phone close to your mouth. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That was an excellent speech. Hold the phone next to your mouth. So, very good one. And I think we can use it in our, we can get inspiration from his speech and use the techniques in our day-to-day life. So with that, let me move on to the next inviting, for the next speech, let me invite Manoj. Manoj will be introducing Francis. It is Francis' first speech. It's his icebreaker speech. So let me invite Manoj to introduce Francis.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Dear Toastmasters, it was about, a year and a half back that this gentleman, along with his family of his wife Jocelyn and 2 daughters, Anna Mary and Alfonso Angel, so came into our community. But from the early days, he had made the transcendence quite obvious. It was very obvious to us that he is special. I think we have a unique opportunity today to listen to him, perhaps know more about him and what he likes and what he does not like and so on and so forth. It's his icebreaker speech. With that, dear friends, let me invite Francis Kalubaragal Matthew to deliver his icebreaker speech.
Today, sneezing is the most terrifying involved reaction across the world. If this was before coronavirus becoming a global threat, probably I would have received more bless you from this crowd. Mine was a fake anyway. Let me ask you a question. How many of you think we all are really blessed? Are we? Yes. We are all profusely blessed. Imagine you gave a gift to someone and they neglected to thank you for it. Would you be like to give them another? No. Life is the same way. If you don't say thank you for all the blessings that life has offered to you, it is going to be difficult to get another. Irrespective of the size and impact of the blessing that you get in your life, pause for a second and thank Almighty for all the blessings. Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to speak about my blessings, which started 40 years back on 14 September 1979, when I was born as the younger child of my parents, Mary and Matthew. We lived in a small village called Pudapra of Alleppey district. When I was born, my elder brother was 11 years old. Hence, more than a brother, he is kind of second in command dad. We moved to Cochin when I was in 6th grade. I was active in auto service and CML up to 12th grade. After plus 2, my family encouraged me to join Polytechnic. Since most of our relatives were in Gulf, they thought it can get me a good job in Gulf. I completed my diploma in electrical engineering. My career blessing started when I joined a small organization named Digitex, which was specialized in LAN cabling. My initial days in sales was frustrating because that demanded command over English and proper sales dress code. Those days I was like, no shoes, no inshirt, no tie at all. But my manager, Srikumar sir, was a very nice human being who was kind enough to guide me and give me the direction on what to be achieved and how to be done. My expertise and command over English was so good that one day I was making a sales call to one of our clients, Taj Hotel. There comes a beautiful female voice from the other side. Menu Sinla. I could not figure out whether it was a statement or a question. I said, "Hello, Taj Hotel?" The lady on the other side, Menu Sinla. I suddenly felt the room temperature was going up as he started sweating. I handed over the phone to my manager. He easily managed that call. Then I realized that lady was asking, "May I know who is in the line?" Over a period of time, I started enjoying my sales career. I transcended on my English, on my dress code, learned about IT infrastructure technology, and landed in my first multinational company job at American Power Conversion. Mother Teresa once said, some people comes into your life as blessing and some people come into your life as lesson. 2005, April 21st, Jocelyn Fernandez came into my life as the biggest blessing in my life as my wife. The moment she came in, soon after, the frequency of blessing was like booming share market. The next year, our first child, Anna Mary Francis, was born. We bought a new house in Cochin. I got a new job at IBM. Over and over, I marveled on my blessings. Each year was greater than the last. But life is not all about blessing. Here comes the storm and struggle. My father was diagnosed with a kidney disease. I got a transfer to Chennai. My wife was a teacher and she was carrying the second child. And she decided to resign to take care of my dad and our family. I was shuttling between Chennai and Cochin on a weekly basis. That year, my sales number was so bad. My father struggled with his disease for 3 years and finally went to Almighty. And I somehow managed to get a transfer to Bangalore to safeguard my job. It was my dad's dream to get me a job abroad. You know what happens when your dad is with God? Direct recommendation. No challenge, straight from Bangalore to US. And here I am, in front of you, delivering my first speech in Toastmaster, enjoying my badminton, cultural activities, working as Alliance Business Manager at HPE. I have seen good days, but I have also seen worse. I don't have everything that I want, but I do have everything I need. My life is not perfect, but I am blessed. Madam Toastmaster.
I think we should give another round of applause. What a transparent my speaker speech. I don't have anything else to say. It was marvelous. I think everybody enjoyed listening to you. You did a wonderful job. So let's move on to the next speaker. Next speaker is Saji. And to introduce Saji, let me invite Charlie.
Hi everyone. My job is today to introduce Saji Paul. He lives in Edison with his wife Betty and 3 children, Steffi, Judy and Leah. He works in the IT field. He served Cannes as the president and have done a very good job. And he was very much involved in the community activities around the tri-state area and also in this state. Today he will give his project number 6. In this project we mainly look how his sound variations are, his voice variations, and how he uses his voice to get the attention from the audience and to specifically give his speech. And his speech subject is leadership through coaching. Welcome, Saji.
I have a counter myself. Today, as you know, my topic is leadership through coaching. Most of us are leaders here, or aspiring to be leaders. That's why you are here. Don't take me wrong. Unfortunately, in the current working world, what we are seeing is that most leaders do not know how to lead. Why is it so? Partly, people who get elevated to the top ranks, their ability has little to do with inspiring or motivating others. Also, it is an erroneous notion that we have that a leader should know anything and everything. when it comes to leadership styles, we have seen or we have experienced that people are often micromanagers. Most books that we have read about management is either theoretical, where some people who are knowledgeable might have written up something, and also somebody who has worked in the past, who have looked back and brought something for the betterment of us. So I don't disagree. Both these books are valuable. However, they are seldom helpful in getting us implementing a proper management style. So, like I said, managers tend to become motivational micromanagers. That is what I call it. So they tend to advise people on what to do and effectively become micromanagers. So let's think how we should be a transcendent leader than a so-so one. Coaching is always the best way that we should get something done effectively. What is wrong about advising? We must have seen or must have experienced in our own homes what happens when we advise. We may come up with brilliant ideas and solutions to someone's problem, but we don't think in their shoes or look into what issue that they are trying to solve. So in that process, we often overlook the issues at stake. So this is the reason why advices don't go so well. Rather, coaching is always fruitful rather than being adversarial. A poor leader is always very busy in dispensing his advices. So what happens when you do that? People have the feeling that they are being led in a certain direction. That is not the way it should be. A good manager, rather, tend to get engaged in fruitful coaching conversations that lead people to have a more collaborative environment in which people flourish and become successful. The other thing that I would like to bring to your attention is that when you yourself are good managers, don't get, when you be it in a advisory role or coaching sessions, don't end up giving yes-no questions, because that always shut down conversations. What you should be doing is always to be a good manager, successful manager, you should be coming up with open-ended questions that lead the others, your subordinates or your peers, to brainstorm their ideas and come up with the best solution for themselves. You should be a facilitator. That is what you should be. So that is the characteristic of a good leader. And so the point of all this is that I don't want to do a rambling speech. To what you have learned from this. Number one, giving advice is not the best solution to all situations. And number two, you should train yourself in helping others to come up with solutions for their own problems and come up with a plan to mitigate those. And finally, coaching is a skill that you should develop patiently and taking time. That you also need to train yourself to get there. And this would lead more involvement with your people and will help you implement your own plans in your organization. And in that process, you will also increasingly avoid, yes, but there is some problem in getting something implemented. That kind of answers. You give very good ideas, but people will say, yes, but I cannot do it. So it will avoid you getting into that mistake. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a very informative speech. It's always easy to give advice. We always do that at our home. So I think very informative. Thank you. And moving on to the next session of our Toastmasters meeting, let me invite Topic Master Carlos to chair the session.
I have a few topics for impromptu speech. Whoever comes first can grab and talk about the topics. Impromptu speech is not a prepared speech. It is spontaneously coming, and it is for 1 to 2 minutes. So anyone can come. I invite everyone to come and give the topics. I will give the topics. You can make presentation against the topics. Please come.
Also, we have to attract the program and make that because it will be effective. Okay.
Who want to come? Vipu, you want to come first?
Okay, I will go first. Before going to impromptu speak, I would recommend, everybody to participate. So we are not to effectively utilize your time. Just come out, talk, whatever you can talk. Yes, okay. Yeah.
The first topic George is going to talk is communism in its true sense is very good, but it failed to get acceptance. Why? And it is
Thank you, Carlos. Actually, I like that topic. The reason is, it is certain extent it is a failing experiment. What is the reason behind that? When we listen, the ideology or philosophy behind communism, it is very perfect. Unfortunately, it didn't succeed. What is the reason? The basic reason is every human being is certain extent is selfish. That is the reason. Everybody wanted to achieve something for themselves. So in communism, basically whatever a person put effort to, that is mainly going for the development of the country or the society. That wouldn't work. Even if we look into American system, it is not really capitalistic country. It is certain extent, it is a blend of communism or socialism and capitalism. So here also, whenever there is a problem, whenever the government feels that, okay, something is going wrong, immediately they will intervene and make corrective action. For example, in 2008, financial industry crash. Immediately government intervened and made sure that things are supported. It is part of socialist ideology. Similarly, here also, even though everybody says that America is a capitalist country, they have social system in order to support poor people, whether we notice or not. These are all part of the philosophy behind socialism or communism. I think that is all I have. Thank you.
I agree with George. After all, human beings are all selfish, basically. The second who want to come. I have only a few topics. This is regarding coronavirus and how there is no real actions for the government. If the government, we know that it is a contagious disease and the government can shut down the country for 1 or 2 weeks and can stop the spread of the coronavirus. Why the government is not doing?
Yeah, so the question is why shouldn't we shut everything down, clean everything up and then start again? Thank you. It would have been so great if the answers to these situations were so simple. Right? Any disease that hits us, any issue that hits us, coronavirus is just an example. It could be a terrorist attack. It could be anything that we are up against. The solution to that, in my opinion, cannot be close the shop, clean everything up, and suddenly everything will be okay when we come back in, right? And then there wouldn't be another instance of that. We as human beings have been evolving through the years, right? With every such instance, in this case it's a virus, it could be anything, it could just be a fall, right? With every such instance, we are learning, we are evolving, we are moving forward. I would just see this as one of those instances. We look at it as an opportunity. Should the government act? Absolutely. Should the government act in a way that everything is shut down? I don't think so. But should the government act in a way that there is selective action that is taken so that quarantine is happening, so that the spread is contained? I think absolutely. With that, I'll conclude. Thank you.
This is about the outcry about the global warming, and whoever is crying about the global warming, they don't care about the global warming, they want to enjoy. So this opinion about the global warming.
Okay. I actually disagree with that thesis that the elite or whoever is complaining about global warming are not doing anything about it. So I actually present on that side. And I would say why I disagree with that. there are a lot of people that are very sincere in their efforts. And even within our church, you can actually see the people that are actually really care about global warming are taking the efforts to take remedial action. All of us as human beings, we can't wait for everybody else for everything to be perfect and somebody else to do, create the systems for everything to be perfect. We can't wait for our leaders to show us the way. Individuals have to take the necessary action. I grew up in a city called Pune, and I know that city was a beautiful city with great weather. And 20 years after the fact, I've seen how it has changed. So I know global warming is a matter of fact. I know for people that probably come from India, maybe people that are in Kerala because it's so green, you might actually feel that you might not have experienced that firsthand. Perhaps if you're living there in the last few years, you might have experienced it even more. But I used to love going to Kerala precisely because it was so green and so beautiful. But if you lived in Pune or any of the big cities in India, you definitely have experienced that. And so I don't think people that actually believe that global warming is harmful are not doing anything about it. There's a lot of lack of leadership. I know America could act in a big way, but we are not doing it, and we can't wait for our leaders. We have to take the first step. We have to get more involved and do what is right. Nobody, if you think about it, if you look back in time, you'll see that Jesus Christ preached a way that was revolutionary. Anybody who looks at Jesus Christ would say, oh, at that time, he talked about things that were different from what everybody understood. And he was, at that point in time, people would have looked at him as a revolutionary. Whereas now we look at him and think of him as God. It's the same way. I think when you look at certain things that are out, that you feel others are disagreeing with, if you think it is right, do what you can.
Okay, then I will wrap up the table topics. Thank you everyone for.
Thank you, Babu. Let's moving on to the next session. I invite Deepu to chair the evaluation.
Good afternoon. So let's move to the third session, that is the evaluation session for today's meeting. So we have 3 prepared speeches. We'll start with the evaluation of the speeches. The first one was James, and let me invite George to give an evaluation of the speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. James, it was a transcendent speech. So, you wonderfully delivered the speech, an inspirational speech actually. Looks like nowadays we all are talking about leadership. Definitely we all are sitting here to become a good leader. So this kind of informational topic is definitely helpful for us to grow in our journey, Toastmasters journey. So you talk mainly about the ability and desire. Yeah, that is true that in our career or in our leadership skill, these two, our ability and the desire, the willingness to take responsibility is very important. Regarding the objective, as far as the objectives are concerned, clarity of visual, so it was very helpful to understand the topic we talked about. So in that aspect, it served the purpose of the speech. Because you explained it, we could understand it very quickly. So that was perfect, very good. Relevance of visual you used, of course, it was very relevant. Transition, yeah, it was good transition as well. So, regarding the simplicity of the topic, it was very simple, nothing complicated. And regarding the transition, you didn't use too many transitions, if I understand correctly. that is definitely helpful because to the audience to understand quickly. A few improvement I can suggest is when we considered it is based on a visual based project, I expected something more rather than one slide. I expected some slightly more. I cannot say that it's something wrong here because that's what we talked about. Then again, you could be a little more relaxed. You could move around because you have the clicker with you. You could move the other side. Yeah. It was the minute one? Oh, okay. Okay, that is right. So that is one thing. Other suggestion is the vocal variety. Of course, it is not that easy. We are basically in the learning stage. So if you could add a little more vocal variety to it, it would have been more effective. Otherwise, it was very informative and a great speech. As usual, you did a wonderful job. Again, we are looking forward to other 2 projects and wish you all success to complete the Competent Communicator program also. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, George, for the evaluation. So let's go to the next evaluation. That is, the second speech was delivered by Francis, his icebreaker speech. So I invite Manoj to begin the evaluation speech.
Thank you. I heard somewhere that a good speech is essentially an emotional roller coaster ride. When the speaker is able to use the positives, the negatives, and take the audience along the journey, that's when the engagement comes. That's when that whole speech and the experience becomes lively. I'm sure all of us would agree that there was one such experience. So well done. Your speech, Francis, was evaluated across multiple aspects. Clarity, vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, audience awareness, comfort level, and interest. Now, as we prepare for a certain speech, this isn't theoretical. So obviously we will not be able to transcend across each of these elements. We choose, right? So that's how we strategize. We say, these are the areas that I'm going to target in today's speech. And I think you did that extremely well. I thought you focused extremely well. Clarity was a given, right? You were able to focus very well and you delivered that extremely well. Comfort was great. You were able to keep the interest of the audience and hence were able to captivate the attention from the start till the end. The way you brought in quotes from Mother Teresa, the way you weave the setbacks of your, the entire life into the whole speech, I think that was great. You used vocal variety extremely well. It may be because of the setting, and the setting I understand is not, there's physical restriction in terms of how you could move around, but maybe for the future speeches as you prepare, and we should think about the way we sit as well, that will allow you to maybe move, just so that the audience is able to move along with you as well. That's pretty much what we had, but otherwise, overall, it was a transcending experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manoj, for the evaluation. So let's move to the third speech evaluation. The third speech was delivered by Saji. So let me invite Shali to give the evaluation.
Hi, Saji. You were confident when you entered the stage. It was really nice. And you were smiling at the audience. That was really good. And you were not at all nervous or anything. And that showed that you were well prepared in your speech. I can see that in every step. Topic selection was excellent, and that was useful for all of us because we are also in the coaching to become good public speakers. Volume was excellent. I could hear that on that end of this room. It was really nice, better than all of your speeches. Because I can't hear any of your speeches. It was the best. This was the best. And the speed of the speech. You use pauses in a very good manner. Because of that, we as audience would grasp your ideas and think about it in our head. And if you ask anything from your speech, I can tell what you said. It was that much clear. That was excellent. And the pitch of the speech, it was good, but sometimes maybe if you raise your voice a little bit, because your voice is very soft, it's good, but if you give some energy, more energy, it will be great. The quality of speech, excellent. Expressiveness. I think maybe with your face, maybe, I don't know how, you can give more expression with to excite the audience. Like, I don't know how I can say that. So everything was really nice. It was an excellent speech. And one improvement, adding the example of a great leader could help the audience to connect the facts that we said with the real life situation. The speech was well organized, you were confident, pleasant, relaxed, well researched subject, and well prepared transcendent speech.
Thank you, Shari, for the evaluation. Next, let me invite Josmon for our counter report.
Good afternoon again. We will go to the counter report. Today, overall, I think it was a good session. I didn't find that much of the filler words. So, a few of that I have noticed and wrote. So, George, in the introduction speech, I didn't find anything. Priya, I think I noticed one you know and one like during your speech. Tiku, I didn't find anything. Priya, nothing. Paulus, nothing. George, I got one okay and one repeat of the word done. And in the evaluation, I noticed two so and one yeah. James, Manoj, even in your table topic, I noticed one thing. Francis, nothing. Shari, there were two, I noticed two, one in your introduction and one in the evaluation. Saji speech, I noticed one, you know. That's all. Very short report. Thank you.
Thank you, Josmon, for the counter report. Next, let me invite Biju for a grammarian report. Biju is happiest.
Transcending, yes, thank you. Actually. The group was transcending in using the word transcend. So that's it. From a grammar perspective, I was a bit lazy. I did not transcend to get all those things, but I gave James a free pass. I did not catch anything out there, and it could be because it's not that you didn't have much, but I did not catch anything. Okay. For Francis, I saw a couple of small things. Like he mentioned, some people comes to your life. I thought it was something to come to your life. And I think he mentioned good days and then he used and words. I would use good days and bad, like, you know. I know the way you thought maybe, but good, bad words is not matching to that good person. So I think that is just a suggestion. I mean, you can use it. I thought, like, you know, it would have been better. From Saji's, I thought you had a few, but I did not capture it well. I tried to talk to you and make sure that you did that. I think you mentioned something like erroneous notion to know a leader should know something. Like, no, I think it should be erroneous notion that a leader should know something like that. And then for James, I saw a lot of lack of leadership when you are doing your. I don't know whether you want to. I think a lot more. I did not capture much, but thank you.
So thank you, Biju, for the memorable report. So next, let me call the timer for giving the time report.
Today I think everybody did good timing. Your speech was so good, so I forgot to show you the first part. Green and yellow, then I saw, okay, it was like, I should have showed you, but you were like 6 minutes 32 seconds, so that was good. And Francis also stick to the time. Yeah, you had like 6 minutes 10 seconds. Saji, I think, went little over with 7 minutes 29 seconds. Evaluation, George, of course, he went good. 3 minutes 36 seconds. I think it's supposed to be 3 minutes, right? Evaluation. And Manoj, yeah, he did good. 2 minutes 20 seconds. Shani also did 2 minutes 40 seconds. That is good. Table topics. George did 2 minutes 72 seconds. That is okay. Manoj did 1 minute 30 seconds. And James also did 2 minutes. I think today everybody is in the line.
Thank you, Rachel, for the timer report. So next is the report of the general evaluator. So though we started 5 minutes late, thank you, Priya. I think we have 3 prepared speeches. We are almost 1 hour into the meeting, so I think we are probably 5 to 10 minutes more than the typically 1 hour. But still, I think it felt that there was a great meeting with all the roles being taken, everyone 3%, and we starting almost on time. Thank you, James, for your 8th speech. Great speech on visual aids. And you have really looked at some of the points that are skill-based skill metrics and your 4 quadrants of direct and excite and guide and delegate. So those 4. I am also keeping looking at how I think that will tie to the dynamic leadership speech that Roy gave us today about the different leadership styles, because I am hearing now multiple different ways, right? How all this is going to put together. So last time I think we saw about the 4 different quadrants and how I think it will tie together. But anyway, I think it was a different way, perspective on how you look at the leadership. So thank you for that. Again, thank you, Francis, for a well-prepared speech. You were confident all throughout. You engaged audience. And you also talked about how the blessings that you have received from started your first job from Digitex to American Pro conversion to IBM to HP. Now I think we moved over a bit of time with the blessings. And talked about how the command over English and how improved. Some of that I think is applicable still for all of us. How I think we still need to improve on the command, and that is going to help us, I think, getting into better positions. So thank you for that. And you also talked about how the difficult things returned into blessings to the family. It's great. I think please continue that. I think I feel this was probably one of the best icebreaker speeches that I have heard for a long time. Very confident. I think you were able to move. Only one point I want to mention is, though it is not for icebreaker speech, you were able to look at the audience. I think I gave the comment even last time too. That is true for most of the rest of us. Give that eye contact for a little more time. And that will, the speech was good because of it being personal experience. I think everybody was listening to it, everybody was engaged. But when you give the next speech, which will be a specific topic, I think in order to engage, I think the audience, it will be better to keep the eye contact And you don't need to do for everybody. Today we are speaking for